It was me that was desperately ill last month, so apologies for that. I genuinely couldn't help it. So we're seeing Stuart next month now, aren't we, Fumi?
Mm-hmm.
So this is our first of 2026. I keep forgetting to say 2026 at the moment, it's terrible. For those that have never joined a Nellie on the Sofa before, this is kind of a conversation, I suppose, with that I have with somebody else. It is a little bit more relaxed, but we do hope you get something from it, and it's a little bit entertaining along the way. I've forgotten Andy Hitchon.
Good start.
Yeah, good start. My brain went completely out the window. Andy Hitchon has asked us to come over today. We're actually out on the road. We're not on the Nellie sofa. We're over in Nottingham today with Andy. Andy is the resident expert at Leap Estates.
Leap Estates, yeah.
It's not Leap Software. It's Leap
So yes,
Estates.
it's Leap Estates, part of Leap. So I'm formerly private client lawyer, partner in a regional law firm, and joined Leap Estates and Leap as head of private client in October.
And now you're the resident.
And now I'm resident expert, well, getting there on all things AI related.
See, I wanted to do a filming of Kunk on this, and my first question be, what is AI?
What is AI?
But Fumi said no, don't do that because nobody will understand it. I think everyone would. But AI, I mean, it's everywhere now, isn't it? I mean, literally to the point. I think we're almost at a saturation point with it, aren't we? Because every app, every piece of software that you download, whether it needs AI or not, has an AI system attached to it in some way, shape or form, of varying deep levels of strength, I suppose, is the polite way of putting it. But AI is not a new thing. It's not something. I heard this once about Greggs. You know Greggs the Bakers? It's an overnight success that was 100 years in the making, because they've been going since like 1940 or something like that. But Greggs came out of nowhere, and AI is a little bit like that, isn't it? It's not something that's just sprung up overnight.
No, it's not. It's not. And as well, you're right. It's everywhere. So you know, yes, for the professionals, it's what we use. It's day in, day out, and we look at it from a slightly different way. But you know, my kids are all over it. You know, 13-year-old showed me the other day a video of me on a seafront that I've never been to, walking along it, and you know, scary but incredible at the same time. And it's just showing the way that technology is moving forwards with it all.
And I think, I mean, I said before this that I really want to touch on some of people's fears, because that is some of the fears. The fact that you can almost create a fake reality with AI, with images and photos, as we've just seen with X and all of their things. And I'm not getting into that because I don't want to get sued by anyone. Mr. Musk, you're wonderful. Honestly, we love you. But there is that fear that actually, like you said, you know, you can create a video of you walking down a seafront that you've never been to before, that's just not, it's not real, but it looks, for all intents and purposes, as if it is real. But that's the bad side of AI, just like there's the bad side of the internet, isn't there?
Exactly.
But there's also a positive to all of the AI as well, isn't there? So, but it has to be used properly.
That's it, and I think that's the differentiation. It's where people are getting scared, and rightly so. You've got to be careful with what you're using. But professionally, what you've got to look at is systems that don't hallucinate, don't create things that you don't want to create.
What do you mean by hallucinate?
So again, this is pulling in an answer that isn't necessarily the answer that you think. You've got AI that's almost guessing to give you the answer that it thinks you want.
Because it wants to give an answer.
It wants to give you an answer, and that answer isn't necessarily backed up by the right research, backed up by wherever it's gone to find it. So what you really need when you're looking for an answer to something with AI is to know your sources and to know where it's looking. And I think that's the problem with chat. Is the problem with a lot of them that are out there. We don't know where it's getting it from. You know, my children or whoever else is using AI, they don't care where the end product comes from.
So, a little bit like if I asked you what time did the first AI go live, you would probably sit there and go,
yeah, exactly.
Whereas you would turn around as a human being and say, I don't know, but I can find that out. AI wants to go, it was 12:15 on this day at this time. Even though it hasn't actually got that information, it wants to give that. It wants to give an answer. Yeah. So that's
it's where it's pulling it from. You've got to be thinking, well, where are you getting this information from? And I think that's, for a lot of the legal profession, that's the scary thought behind it, because they're so unsure as to where it's going to get that answer. And a lot of the times, with some of the ways and means of getting it that's out there, it seems really convincing, the way that it puts it. It tries to make you believe it at the same time. And having systems in place so that you know where you're getting that from, so that you can rest easy with the answer that you're getting and go, I'm all right with that. Because it's all well and good me going and speaking to, when I was in practice, speaking to a colleague and sitting there, because I know that colleague's got 20 years of experience, and I know that what they're going to tell me is 99% of the time going to be the right answer.
Case law that they're referring to is a case law that they've referred to 100 times before with 100 different people, or they've just read it in the newspaper that day or in the journal article that day, whereas AI
can make it up.
Yeah.
If you're not careful.
Well, I've seen it. I mean, when GPT became a thing, we were going, well, tell me about Banks versus Goodfellow. And the one that he was getting confused on the most was the Mental Capacity Act test, because it kept referring to the old test. Now we've got our own GPT that we've created, and we've had to specifically program it to refer to the new one and to ignore the old test of the first being the impairment of the mind or brain. But you could almost get into an argument with it, and as far as it was concerned, it was right.
Yeah.
And you would say, no, actually, look, here's a website with the new test on it. Yes, there is that test, but the actual test is this old one.
Yeah, and this is the thing, and there's things that making the life of the lawyer easier. We're all used to forms and precedents, for example, of looking something up and then filling it all in. So going on LexisNexis or going on a certain database to find a precedent, pulling that out, and then you sit and you type it all in yourself. Now, what you can do, the way that AI is advanced, for example, is a prompt. And a prompt is nothing more than a fully completed precedent. But in order to get that correct, for it to read your case, for it to fill in all the missing bits of a precedent, you need to give it instructions, and those instructions have got to be right.
Yeah. And
it's so key that you say, don't look at this, only look at English, don't use American terminology, don't do this, don't do that, and give it the right instructions. It's got to be that the right professional is giving the right instruction towards that at the same time.
And that's where, if you're creating your own AI system, your own GPT, whatever term you want to use, you can have that preloaded in the background to give it those set instructions.
Correct. Yeah.
Which is where AIs like Leaps, and I know there's lots of different AIs doing lots of different things now, but they all have this background knowledge, which is their first port of call, isn't it? They don't go straight to the internet, they go to that knowledge base first. That's the key, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think as well, what you've got to look at is what you're using it for. The scary thing, and it's huge for everyone, is how AI is going to take over the world, and it's, lawyers aren't going to have jobs or whatever else. It's using it to get time back.
I heard a great science fiction author talking about this, actually. He said that everyone's scared of AI taking their jobs. He says, which is an understandable fear. He said, but we've had that fear since technology was first created, and the first piece of technology was the plough. He says, and we were promised that, look, here's this piece of technology, you'll be able to plough the fields quicker, which means it will give you more leisure time.
Yeah.
He says, but what actually happened was we ploughed more fields. And he says, and every time technologies come out to say, this will take your job, this will give you more leisure time, actually we've ended up working harder.
Yeah.
And he cited self-checkout tills. He says they're supposed to be there to save you time to do this, but actually it used to be that you stood in the queue and didn't do anything, and then you got to the till and you didn't do anything, and somebody else scanned it. They were working and you didn't. And now you're working harder because you're having to scan your own items.
Yeah. But it's the mundane thing. So the way that I see it is use the AI. Yes, use it for your legal research. Plough into it and get your answers where you need to from a legal perspective. But also use it to get rid of those mundane tasks that take up so much of your time, that then free you up to be doing other things. So you're working
on more cases.
You're doing more because you don't have to do the bit that takes time. You're not sat there at 7-8 o'clock at night typing up all your attendance notes, and your file opening procedures and everything else.
But that's the same as Microsoft Office.
Yeah.
Microsoft Office, before that there was typewriters, and it would have taken hours and hours, I'm assuming, to type up notes, and if you got something wrong, you're there with Tipex or whiteout and things like that. Whereas Microsoft Office, email, You know, waiting for that letter to come through, waiting for that court order to come through. Can you imagine how long the court protection would have taken back then?
Oh,
everything on letter.
Well, it's that it's one of the massive things that I always bang on about is you know, either estate accounts or annual accounts, and that AP balance that never balances when you've been doing it on an Excel spreadsheet. And how amazing is it that you can plug everything in and you know it's going to balance when you put it in, and it can tell you where it can look at what's there.
But do that before Excel.
Oh,
that would have taken weeks of work. Whereas
massively.
Excel came along, and it's not that anyone got made unemployed. All of a sudden, it was just more. You were able to take more cases. And that's all AI is going to do, isn't it? We're all going to be working harder.
Going to be working harder. Get rid of the thing. Working harder on the things though that we want to be working on. I think what it is, we'll be able to pick and choose a bit more. Like the biggest thing for me in the world of private client court protection work is the human element. And nothing's going to ever replace the empathy and the client care that we need to give in this industry. It's absolutely at the forefront. And in my view, what it does is it takes the noise away and allows you to focus a bit more on that. If you're meeting with Betty runs over by half an hour because she's talking to you about X and Y, and you're not going, oh, I've got to get back, so I've got to get my 7 hours charge wall down, and I've got to be doing this, because you know you've got something that's going to blast through.
But you've got your AI sat on your phone transcribing everything that's being said, so when you get back you've got no notes, or you've got to transfer the notes and read through them instead of sitting there typing them up.
Exactly, and that's it, and hitting it, that's the thing as well, is not forgetting, yes, it'll do that front end, so you've done the front end work because you've said, I want you to do this. That reading afterwards is still key. You know, it's always got to be, yes, you can rely on it, but it's human in, human out. You want to be making sure that you are checking it, and it is a, you know, it's got to be right for what you want it to be at the end of the day. That human verification element is still as important as ever. And it's like with the legal research that you can do now, you know, using a tool that will give you the right research with the right resources, that even then, off the back of it, not everyone's got somebody else that they can sit and chat to and go, oh, it's giving me this answer, is that what you thought it would be? But to go one stage further, to seek human verification, you can do that at the same time. I
mean, I don't know, as a private client solicitor, I'm assuming that you may get a secretary or somebody else to write a letter up for you, and then you would sign it in your name and it'd go off. But you wouldn't just sign it without reading it, would you? Because that's your name. So there's no difference. If you're signing to say this is my work, you need to make sure that it is your work. You need to read through it and say, yes, that is exactly what I would have written. It's just transcribed it. That's all.
And even then, it's not replacing the person who would have sat before and typed up the letter, because they can be putting into the systems to say, these are the letters that I want to create, get them all out. How much better do they feel by that being done quicker? They can then be checking it, and they can almost be upskilling themselves by going, right, well, what I can do is I can move on and I can be doing this because I'm more confident now, I'm more intuitive with what I'm doing. So again, the fear that it's going to replace people, will it replace people that don't use AI? Possibly. Those that get left behind. Will it replace people in the whole? No, it won't.
But that goes back to PCs, Microsoft Word, all of that. Those that chose not to invest in it, chose not to go with the modern changes, I suppose. They were all left behind anyway. I mean, that's unfortunate, but in business, in a profession, you have to move with what's going on.
And I think that's why the Law Society is looking at what it's looking at in terms of digital wills. Essentially being able to draft digital wills online, doing it by video, witness by video. It's just showing how technology is all moving forwards with it, and age being changed from 18 to 16, because let's be honest, the younger generation now are so on with technology. It's just what they've been brought up with. So actually doing it at 16, being able to do it through that. Mental Capacity Act's changing now, so that it's not Banks and Goodfellow, it's looking at everything else. Yes, it brings risks with it at the same time, and the AI side of it, being able to do it all online, being able to do it through technology and digital means. Yes, you've got to have the right safeguards in place. Yes, people have got to have the right training. Yes, the right policies have to all be in place. And I think that's really key. So yes, use all the technology to do all of this that might be coming through, but at the same time, that human element that's got to be there to supervise, to monitor, and everything else is going to be key going forwards with it all. Using AI technology for things like capacity assessments now. What's your view on?
I think when we first talked about AI, everyone was terrified. Well, they're going to be able to do my job, and it just I can't see how that would ever particularly work, because even with AI, we can program an AI to. I don't know whether you saw it on BBC News the other day. They had an AI presenter.
Yes.
That you couldn't spot the difference. Absolutely, we could have an AI doing a video link assessment, and the person, especially if they're older, probably wouldn't be able to spot that it's an AI video. They wouldn't be able to spot the difference in the linguistics and things like that. But that AI wouldn't be able to spot the behavioural differences of that person sitting there. They wouldn't be able to spot what's going on around them. They wouldn't be able to spot safeguarding concerns and things like that. So I think that's where that human element comes in. I think it's like you said, it's if a private client solicitor goes out to see somebody, they're picking up, actually, is this person writing their own will, or is there somebody in the back kitchen that's told them what to do? AI is never going to be able to, or I can't see how it would ever.
Yeah, I had it myself. I literally had it where I went to see a client, and there was a family member there that said they were going to the other side of the house, and I heard a creaking floorboard outside the room, and you know, that's the human element again, because I was like, wait a minute, I've got to be sure that this, and it was, there was nothing to it, they were just passing through, but at the same time you kind of go, well, AI is not going to say, and then I heard a noise, for example, but if you're sat there as the human and you're making all your notes, what your AI is then going to do is you're going to feed that back in, and it's going to beautifully present everything for you, do all your audit trail and everything else that's there. I think that's where to use it.
There's potential where AI will be able to say, oh, you've missed a little bit. You haven't quite hit the case law. You haven't quite filled out this piece of form completely enough. You might want to look at this and to almost act as a reflective tool. Again, there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, we have, for us, I don't know about private client, we have our senior social worker looking over all of the reports that go out to make sure that things aren't missed. And let's be honest, human beings become complacent. If you're doing the job day in, day out, and you're writing 365 wills a year, or whatever it is, it's natural to become slightly complacent, and you miss just a little thing here.
It's the one thing that comes up. It's always the one thing. In 10 years' time, when you can't remember anything about it, it's the one thing that's.
Whereas if you've got an AI system that's just, you're running it through and it's going, oh, you might just want to look at this. What's the negative?
Yeah, it's using it for a prompt and a risk management tool is certainly a good way to look at it. We in private practice, we used to say that there's nothing in a conversation when you're going to see somebody that's probably irrelevant. You want to be making sure that you're thorough. That little comment about going on holiday or whatever else could show an understanding of capacity or whatever. So the whole less is more doesn't really qualify with that. But as you say, if you've got something that can give you a prompt, say, you spoke about this, do you want to expand on what's there? Or we think you should expand on that because that will give you that just comfort that you've covered everything that you need to be covering.
I think because they're terrified in universities, aren't they, that students are just going to be writing their own stuff out. But actually, what a great tool for a university student to be able to run it through and for them to say, you might want to expand on this. You might want to go and look at this journal article or this or that, because that aids learning. It's as simple as that. So I from my point of view, I think this, because everyone's scared, I think, or there seems to be a lot of fear around that AI is going to de-skill, it's going to stop people from learning, because I don't need to learn, I'll just ask AI and then it will tell me and I'll do it. But I don't know about you. I mean, in my personal life, I've learned things. I've learned how to do things. Our toilet was out of commission just before Christmas, and I'm literally sat there with AI taking photographs of it, going, what do I need to buy, and how do I do this? And I hate plumbing. I detest plumbing. It's just want to, I'll mess around with electrics in my house all day long.
I would.
I trained as an engineer, as a mechanical engineer, so electric, I'm fine with. Water, if it leaks, that's it. It's just pouring out everywhere. Electrics, you go, that hurt, and I can fix it. Or I blow a light, I can fix it. Water, it's just, that's it. It's coming out, now what? So I hate plumbing, but AI, I completely did all of this stuff without getting. I did have a leak because I took a pipe off by accident.
But your thing there is what you've got to remember there is your outcome is something works.
Yeah.
And for the lawyer, yes, you might have that document, but it's knowing that what you've put out will still work in 10 years because it's not necessarily tested. You're not going to be testing it straight away.
Yeah, you're not going to be.
So again, the big thing is, we all go on chat, we all Google AI and everything. The first thing now when you go on a search bar on Google is it brings up the AI result, and a lot of us read that and then we're like, we're off.
Yeah.
Knowing where to look and using the right systems is so key in private client, just to make sure that you've done that, because going back on it, as I say, it's not going to be in 1 year, 2 years, it's 5 years or 10 years that report gets called up like we were talking about. And that's when you might not necessarily even be the same person that dealt with it at the time. Your firm could have completely changed.
Oh, absolutely.
It's people pass away, people move on, whatever else happens. To have the functionality there with AI to be able to, even down to matter summaries within it. Now, there's the ability within cases to run specific matter AI to that, so it doesn't go anywhere else apart from inside that case. That's where things are key, to summarise what's there, to be able to look at what's there. If you've got somebody off, even in practice, it's happened to us all, one of the team members has got a meeting, they phone in sick that morning, you're going, who's taking that meeting?
Yeah.
And you can run your matter AI on something, so you've got it summarised for you, it's going like that through.
Yeah.
That's brilliant, but knowing to be able to trust that, because you don't want to sit in front of a client and be going, yes, Mr. Smith, I can see that you've got da-da-da-da-da, and you only go, what? And that's because it's pulled it from somewhere else. So it's being comfortable, again, in what you're using.
And that goes back to using not a generic ChatGPT AI. There's not anything wrong with that, but it is generic. It's not specific to your firm. It's not specific to your clients, and it hasn't got those policies and those procedures and those commands, those prompts built into the back end.
And I think top line as well, what you've got to have is an understanding from your board within your organisation, and because you've got to have those policies in place that are going to feed down to say, well, this is what I need to do and that's what I need to do. From a PI perspective, it's huge to make sure that you're using the right policies, because they're going to be asking you, they're going to say, well, what implementations have you got with AI at the moment? Where do you go to look for it? And if you're turning around and going, well, I stick it into this and I stick it into that, I'm sure they're going to have more of a problem than you're going, well, I've got a proper robust system, it doesn't do this, it doesn't look there, this is the policy that I've got in place, this is the training that I'm giving to people, because again, doing that's going to be key, because you've got to know what you're feeding in. I mean, I have a joke with people here, because they'll put something into one of the systems and they say please and thank you, and that's because they say, well, robots might take over the world one day, and I say, I think we're still going to get the result that we need with it all. But it did make me laugh.
I can't think of his name now. Sam, the guy behind ChatGPT, he said, I really wish people would stop saying please and thank you, because it's costing so much energy for the AI system to read and see please and thank yous and things like that, and it's not necessary.
But using it for a junior, so that you can look something up, rather than your senior sat over there and you're going, I just need that couple of minutes with them, and they look really, really busy, and to plug something in that you can try and get an understanding, but then to be able to say, well, off the back of that, draft me what I need. You've still got to then be able to look at it and go, that's right. So again, worrying about not having the skills to do something. No, you still need the skills to understand it. I could look at how to replace a car engine or whatever else, but one, it's going to take me God knows how long to do it.
Absolutely.
And I'm going to miss something if it's something like that. So I think using it in the right way, using it within the right constraints, is where we can get rid of that fear with what's there.
Yeah, I think it's like I said, there seems to be, I mean, it's new technology, it's exceptionally powerful technology at the end of the day, and then we've got, I mean, I'm a sci-fi fan, we have got science fiction, and it is science fiction, but to be fair to sci-fi and sci-fi authors, they kind of get it true a lot of the times. The idea of AI is the Terminator, AI the movie. You know, it's never positive things, is it? AI takes over the world and we all end up being nuked, and it's as simple as that. I'll be honest, looking at the current leadership, not particularly in the UK or Europe.
We're not going there. We're not going there.
Wouldn't be bad having AI, would it? Jesus, can't help it. It's brilliant. It's like watching the best drama in the world. But there is that fear, and I did hear Sam Altman. That was his name. One of he said about AI taking over the world. It's not going to be like that. AI won't take over the world by having a robot as president of the United States or anything ridiculous like that. But it will take over the world because over the next 10, 20 years, it will become so embedded in our lives that we're using chat GPTs and things like that, and they get to know you really, really well, because that's your personal assistant. It becomes your personal AI, and the more you put into it, the more it learns about you. He says, and his worry is that teenagers are going to end up getting advice from AI because it knows them really well. Because over the next 18, 20 years, it'll know everything about them, all of their personal deep secrets that they may never have said to anyone else.
That then brings around, again, this is, and it goes back to a lot of what's there. There's got to be the right constraints in what's happening with that data. So, I'm going to pull you back onto the will bit now again.
No, go on.
I'm sure some of the people listening are interested in that part. So, one of the big worries is if you're creating these virtual wills, for example, where that's then going to be stored. What technology is going to be used, and where do they go? Does it go into sort of an online vault, and where rather than your physical vault in your office where you've got your strong room, and you've got your cards and everything else, where's everything kept? Does that bring around its own problems and issues? Yes, it does, because Dropbox, for example, if you're storing things on your desktop, issues of confidentiality, you've got issues relating to potential hack-ins, spyware. We touched on it before. When wills are done in the first instance, if it's done by camera and it's filmed or whatever, that deep faking, can somebody get in? Can you manipulate the data? Ransomware, for example.
I hadn't even thought about that. We were asked years ago whether we record our capacity assessments, and actually now, on what you've just said, it's actually worth less to record it.
It could, if it's not stored securely.
Well,
it could be manipulated.
I can guarantee one of the arguments we will get in 5 years' time is, how do I know that assessment that video that we've got wasn't AI, isn't a deep fake, isn't AI? And I'm sure there will be people out there that get hold of videos like that and then start to fake them.
Oh yeah.
And as soon as they do start to fake them, you can see the contentious side of it opening up, can't you?
I mean, as you say, being the ability to manipulate, get into a system, if it's not robust enough, to say, oh yeah, I wanted a legacy of £10,000 for such a person. So I didn't like my daughter very much.
Private client solicitor, being there face to face with the testator and actually taking, even if it is AI taking those notes, but the physical act of that witness being there actually becomes more important as AI develops, because the risk of deep fakes and mistrust in video and AI.
And
so actually, I don't.
Section matters. Again, how many times do you go out and you've got to sit with someone and you'll spend however long trying to see if they'll understand something or whatever else, and you go, well, the understanding's not there, or you're speaking to them and you're trying to justify, I don't know, familiar payments to to family members or whatever else, and they're sat there and they're saying, well, I need X for this, X for that, X for this. Well, could it be that's manipulated in some way in the future if you've stored it in a certain way. Not if your systems are strong enough. Two-factor authentications, making sure that it is on the right platform. Those sorts of things, again, are going to be really paramount to making sure that it sits in the right place. Ransomware, is there a risk one day of, if everything's stored somewhere, somebody gets in and goes, right, I've got all your wills, I've got all your data, I've got all your capacity reports, I can put it wherever I like.
But I suppose that risk is all, that's not a risk particularly around AI, is it? That's a risk around IT in general.
But I think, as I say, robust systems will combat that, and I think it's, we bring these up and we go, well, these are what the issues are, these are the things that we're thinking about, but actually there are workarounds. If people are sensible enough in what they're doing, and I think the professions that we're in know, we're so used to dealing with these aspects as well, that we're actually quite good at these ones.
But it's advancing data protection as technology advances, isn't it? I mean, if you go back to 1930s, I suppose, something like that, you go into the solicitor's office and the will would be sat on a receptionist's desk because that was perfectly fine, and it was upside down, so you couldn't read it, and all of the documents would be stored in paper files in the offices, potentially locked, potentially unlocked, because crime doesn't happen. It's 1930s, but then as things progress, actually the data protection and data storage all has to progress as well. When computers came around, all of a sudden we had to have data encryption and things like that. I remember emails, when they originally were sent, weren't encrypted, so anyone could essentially hack in and read an email in between sender and receiver. Now they're encrypted. Gmail's encryption is the same level encryption as the military. So storage of wills and things like that is not. This isn't new, is it? AI is not making it new. It's just saying, what we're saying is that that protection has to be as strong as the technology that can get through that.
But it's then looking as well, what other, you can talk about the negatives and things like that, but there are ways around it, and then you think, well, what else is there with what we're doing with AI at the moment that can again really be of assistance? And it's not always just when you're doing your matter that it matters. Front end, yes, it's your onboarding and everything else. During, it can be used for your capacity assessments, it can be used to make sure, get some time back. But then what afterwards? What when you've actually finished the job? Well, a lot of the time as I say, especially if you've got people moving on from businesses and things as well, you want to be thinking about the long game. So are you going to use AI, for example, to say, 12 months since you've done that capacity report, do you need to go and visit the client again? Are you going to use it to spot trends? So when you're looking at bank statements and you're looking at spending, data analysis, it's absolutely incredible. So instead of sitting there, and we've all done it, where you get your highlighter and you're going through, going, right, I'm going to use a yellow highlighter for Eon. I'm going to use a green highlighter for this, because I want to see what the spending habits are throughout the year. And you feed that into AI now, and it's going to do all of that for you. So again, you're looking at saving time for future things as well. Looking at it in the sense of, as I said earlier, those flagging up when you need another capacity assessment, doing a benefits check. It can come and say it's 12 months since, but rather than just saying it's 12 months since, it can say, and this is what happened afterwards. So you're not having to go, what was it when I went out? What was the outcome of that?
So it's giving you a summary, not just a calendar date.
Yeah. But giving you that ability to use it in a different way than just going, well, at the time, it's that risk management side of it as well. It's allowing you to almost step back and go, well, it's going to tell me when I need to do that again. It's going to watch you matters for you. It's going to keep an eye on what's there.
Do you think people trust it to do that at the moment?
I think if it's done right, they will do. I think there's always going to be a fear of people going, well, there's nothing that's going to beat me sticking it in my own Outlook calendar and knowing that I need to send this out on such a date. The problem with that, as I say, as we've touched on, is somebody steps away from a business, somebody's off poorly, that then falls on somebody else to go, well, I think she was putting it in the diary for that time. Oh, she managed her files in this way, or he managed his files in this way, and that's oh, I don't quite understand the way that they were doing that at the
I'm
time.
assuming you might have to read through a few hundred pages of documents, maybe more, to pull out 1 page of actual information that is what you need to go in and actually speak to that client.
Oh, yeah.
But to get that page of information, an AI can just summarise that, can't it? It can just pull out what it is that you need, and you can question it as well.
Yeah,
can't you?
what's
That's
missing?
the key.
What's missing? What, you know? Is there anything missing on this matter? Have I got all my assets in? Have I accounted for everything this year? You know, preparing a summary for a visit from the court of protection or whatever else, and your assurance visits or whatever. You know, I always feel it's a bit like Ofsted when you've got that happening, and you know, you're manically going through all your files, making sure it's all there. Well, if you've got it in AI already, nice summary that's there, presented for you, best interest decisions, make sure it looks through your decision. You know, create me a decisions log.
Yeah.
Create me what decisions have I made this year? Let's have a look at those bank statements. Can you see any big transactions on there? What were they for? Find on my file the attendance note that went behind that to say why I did it.
Yeah.
Rather than having to go, well, I think I've got this.
Yeah.
I think I've got that. And again, that's where it's going to speed up time, because those visits, they take up a lot of time. Would you rather be doing something else with a lot of the time that's there? Probably, yeah.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? Because there is automations out there, Zapiers and Makes and things like that can automate one system to then send an email on this day at this time and remind you, or to send a small amount of information over. But it's a one-way conversation, isn't it? With AI, it's a two-way conversation. So it can send me that information through, and I can go, actually, can you give me a bit more information about this? It said he's got dementia, but is it Alzheimer's? Is it, you know, have I got an actual diagnosis there, or, you know, where have you got that from? And it can dive deeper into specific areas where, with a standard automation, you get what you get, and that's it. You know, if you, like you say, if you get a reminder for an appointment in a year's time, with Google Appointments, anything like that, Google Calendar, you get a reminder. Even with smart tech like Alexa, God, you haven't got one in there, have you?
We're going to know soon if we have.
You'll get a prompt saying, you know, reminder, your son's got swimming tonight. But you can't then talk back to it and say, oh, where is the swimming pool?
Yeah.
With AI, you can say, well, actually, where is the swimming pool? Can you give me the directions for it, please?
And it's things, you know, those things that come out of the blue. Your phone call to say, I think that X's son is spending $2 money or whatever else, and there's safeguarding concerns that's there. There's things that come out of the blue that then you've got to drop everything and go, right, I've got to get the file out, I've got to scan through all the pages and everything else and go, actually, all the transactions there that have been happening that I didn't really realise were a bit odd.
Yeah.
Well, the AI can pick up on all of that sort of thing for you. So it's just using it in the right way. Are there going to be people that abuse AI? Yes. If it's through the right, if you've got your right sources to get it all from, then fine. As I say, my family members, if they're looking, they're not bothered where it comes from, because half the time they just want an answer. You know, you said before about the plumbing. Did you the plumbing and electricity, did you look for where you were getting that from, or did you go, well, I can see that fixes it, so on the basis that it fixes what's there, it's got to be right. The source is actually irrelevant in that case. And I think for what we do in the professions,
we've got lazy.
I mean, if it fixes it, it, doesn't it? So you're not going to be as bothered.
What I did find though, and I think I'm assuming your system has something to stop this, or at least if it doesn't, then there's training around it or something like that. But what I do find with AI, I was doing setting up an API yesterday, and I kind of knew what I needed to do. I knew the 4 or 5 stages that I needed to build into this thing, and I was doing it, and I wanted it to filter out some data, and I'm using AI to sort of give me advice on the best way of doing it. And it kind of went, oh yeah, what you need to do is build 3 more modules, and then do this, and do this, and do this, and do this. And I kind of went, hang on, what? And I started doing it, and then I went, hang on a minute, I don't. And I kind of went back and went, do I need to do all this, or do I just need a filter? And I went, oh yeah, you can do that. Yeah. And it seems to sometimes go off. I'll take the plumbing analogy. Instead of just saying you need to replace this pipe, it kind of goes, right, what you need to do is build a whole new system upstairs, and you need to do this, and it wants to do almost like the best job possible, when actually I just needed to tighten the bolt.
And I think that's where, with what we do, one of the things that we've done at Leap, and what Leap's done is we've invested in lawyers who know the job day in, day out, and know what they want from the outcome from it. So we can create something there that, yes, it does the job, but actually we can go, what are the pain points for the professional that's using what's there? What would they want as the outcome when they get it? An estate account on a matter. How do they actually want it to look? Because that's what they're going to send out to the client. What is the out? There's a million ways to skin a cat. It's that saying, isn't it? And you go, well, what you want to be doing is looking at what is right for what you want and what you want that user outcome to be. And I think that's where it differs, because sometimes you don't care. If I'm looking at how to bake a cake and I'm using AI to tell me how to do it all, then frankly, as long as I get my cake at the end of it, I don't care where my sauce comes from. But if it tells me to use 100 grams of sugar or 200 grams, it doesn't matter.
A Victoria sponge, you don't want it to start giving you the extreme of making one of these cakes that spins. I don't want
to be told to start, rearing chickens to get my own eggs and everything else. And I think that's where, again, and that's that whole hallucination thing as well, making sure that it gets itself into what you need and where you want it from at the same time, that it doesn't go off on a tangent and go all the way around the houses to get you back to where you've got to be.
You've managed to do that with your system by having professional, experienced solicitors feeding into it and feeding
we've built software. We listen to the user base. We say, well, what is it that you're looking for, and then the investment of bringing in qualified legal professionals as well means that we can go, well, we can take it so far, and we've got this amazing product with what's there, but in industry and in practice, what else would you want to add to it, just to really go, that's exactly, what I always do is I put myself back in the shoes of when I was in practice, and I go, if I was using this, what would I want out of this? And I don't want to be told, your example, I don't want to be told to put in a new boiler system and everything else. I just want the pipe to be able to get to what I need to get to. It might be that I want to look behind it, and then I want more of the research, and I can ask it that, and I can say, this is what I want. Time's precious for lawyers and people in the professions that we're in. A lot of the time recording and everything else.
I was going to ask about this actually, because that is, from what I can speak to, a lot of private client solicitors, time recording is their biggest bugbear.
I can say, do I miss time recording? No, I do not.
Can your AI system do AI systems in general? Can they aid? Can they reduce the
they can.
The time recording takes?
Yeah. I mean, the thing is as well, what you've got now is around 55 to 60% of practices that are looking at alternative charging structures away from the hourly time recording, looking at fixed pricing, looking at different ways to do it. There's a lot of training out there that places are doing and going, let's be more dynamic in our pricing structures, because the worry there is, well, if AI is going to do something for me that used to take me 4 hours, how am I going to get my bang for my buck?
Oh yeah.
And that's a concern that they have. Well, one, look at your pricing structure. 2, look at where else you can be adding the value. So if you need to spend that little bit more time going through the documents once they're created with your clients, for example, that meeting, you go, well, I'm going to make sure it's really, really thorough with what's there. But at the same time, it's like I said very early on, that document that's created still needs to be checked by the lawyer. And if, for example, you've got the dentist who is going to take your tooth out and that extraction takes 10 minutes or it takes an hour, and you're paying for it, you're paying for it because of the experience that's behind it.
Absolutely.
So it's making sure that people are very much aware of their own capability of going and being bold enough to say, okay, this would be 3 hours if it was this. Well, I'm going to make sure I build that into my client care letter because I know the experience it's giving me. I've invested in this software, so I'm paying for this. At the end of the day, I'm still doing it with what I'm doing.
I'm getting orders.
We're getting orders from, you're getting your orders now, 10 minute order.
She's nearly as good as Carl Pilgrim. You've thrown me now, Phoebe. I completely understand. I mean, we used to charge 45p a mile for travel, and we hit an issue because we had social workers in London that were travelling 2 miles, so we'd charge the client 90p there, 90p back, and it'd take our social worker an hour and a half to travel there and an hour and a half to travel back because it was London. So I was paying them X amount per hour. I don't know how much it works out to an hour, and I'm claiming 90p from the client. So it was costing me to send them. So we had to change to an hourly rate on our travel to make sure that it was fair on us and the client. With our services though, we've always charged, this is our set fee, we've never charged an hourly rate. And I get it, because if AI comes in, I'm just using a will as an example, if it takes you 3 hours to write a will and you're charging £250 an hour, that's £750. If you bring AI in and it takes you 30 minutes, what, you're going to charge £125 for a will?
That's it, and that's the worry with it. But
you've still got all that knowledge and experience. You've still got to have having gone through university and everything else for far less. So
it's still making sure that everyone's going to know the worth. Everyone's worked very hard to get to the positions that they're in with what they're doing. But as well, it's using it so that a lot of the tasks that would take time outside of what you can charge, it's for the lawyer. A lot of the times, the thought process behind, do I charge for this element of it, do I not, oh, this is an admin task, or really, should I only be charging half an hour for that because I'm not having the best of days today, so normally I could do it in half an hour, but it's taken me an hour. How much do I put down? It's always been something that you have to look at when you're charging the clients anyway. But America, for example, most of the legal work that they will do over there is on a fixed fee basis. They've been bold to go, no, this is what it's going to cost. Yes, there's caveats with it, because you don't want to be shot down where you've said, right, this matter's going to be $5,000, but actually you end up spending 10 grand on it, and you go, well, you're going to be, you've got to make sure the right caveats are in place. But again, I think we all know how long the will's going to take us, how long it's going to take us to draft the court protection forms. We've done it enough times to be able to look at it and say, this is a 3-hour job, it's a 5-hour job. That's why we give a cost estimate. And I think
so you're already given a flat rate through the cost estimate.
It's an estimate, and there's caveats in there that will say if it goes above and beyond, then we reserve the right for this, and this. And I think so long as you're tight enough at the beginning, and actually the AI technology will be able to help you a bit with that, because you'll be able to analyse your cases and say, well, if you're putting all the time recording down, what elements of this matter took me the longest to deal with, get it to give you an average. So you can still do your time recording that's there with what you're doing.
And AI is great at that because it's data analysis, which right now that's probably its most powerful tool.
But if I spent 2 hours before doing a form, and now it's only going to take me less time, well, one, I get through it quicker, my client's happier. If I'm getting things done quicker, I'm getting it done, and I know it's accurate and I can check it, I'm going to get less complaints that come in. I've got less compliance issues, because if I've got my juniors doing things, do I have to spend less time looking at it?
This kind of goes back to the beginning of this conversation. AI can speed things up, but that doesn't necessarily mean that people are unemployed, because that's not going to how it works. But it does mean that you will end up being able to take more cases. So I have no idea how many. I'm not a private client solicitor, so forgive me for any analogy. But let's say you've got a solicitor that writes 3 wills a day, but they're now able to write 6 wills a day because AI speeded that up. But what you're saying is, instead of charging for 8 hours work, they're able to charge for 16 hours work, because if they do it through a flat rate scheme. Because you're still producing the same. You're still producing, instead of producing 3 wills, you're producing 6 wills, which from a business perspective is far superior, because actually from a profit margin, your profit margin is better as well. So everything from that perspective becomes better.
And it's things, the supervision element, you've got less time that you've got to look at a file to supervise it. You can use the AI to look at your juniors' files and to analyse them. You can get your AI to do a risk strategy on all your files, so that you've got, if something changes, it automatically alerts you to the fact that you've got you've got something that's changed on a matter.
And that's what your system does. It can literally ping the.
We're looking at things like
that. Working on.
So there's things that we've looked at, and it's things like that. So, if, for example, corporate protection matter, you get a bank statement in, and there's a transaction on there which doesn't seem in keeping with anything else, the AI can prompt you and say, "Wait a minute."
£500 to a company in America that I've never sent to before. I think we're seeing this in banking systems, aren't we?
Oh, banking's starting to pick up on it a lot more, and I've seen this before I left private practice in corporate protection, and with lasting powers of attorney. We've had phone calls from attorneys, and they said, "Oh, I've had a letter from the OPG because they've said I've been reported because of the transactions that are being carried out," and that's the banks using technology potentially to look at what's there and go.
The bank's actually doing something proactive to protect.
Yeah, well, I like to think. I mean, there was nowhere else this one could have come from, because it was transactions that related solely to what was happening. The only people that would have known about these transactions really were the banks, so they're safeguarding at the same time.
With LPAs, I've spoken to a few solicitors that are trying to create some system of safeguarding individuals where the solicitor isn't the attorney, but they've created the LPAs, and then they've got a layperson acting as the attorney, which comes with risk. And there's no OPG oversight like there is with a deputyship. But actually, solicitors could have an AI system where when we've created your LPAs for you, do you want to sign into this safeguarding system that we offer?
We'll monitor your spend and make sure you're doing everything.
There's an annual fee or whatever it is. I mean, that's
because a lot of lay people, a lot of people, attorneys will be quite worried that they're going to do something wrong. You know, if they're doing the job right, they should be worried that they're going to do something wrong. You always want to be thinking, am I doing everything right? I think it's a bit blasé not to be thinking in that way. So something like that, a monitoring service where you've gone from creating a product for your client to offering a service is where it can certainly help, because it's not going to take up all your time at the same time.
And then from it's subscription as well, a subscription service essentially, isn't it? Which I'd love a subscription service.
Recurring revenue just coming straight in.
It'd be awesome. Just want something people don't use. Just buy it but don't use it. Netflix. Buy it, don't use it. Are you waving at me for time?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I'm going to get shouted at all the way back to Grantham now. Do you know what? I think we need to get you back on the sofa at some point this year, because I think, to be honest, next month AI will have changed anyway.
Exactly. It'd be good to do a bit of an update, and then we can see where things are at, see what feedback we get as well, and if there's anything that we get that we really want to focus on.
I think there's so much that AI has got potential to do, and your system is already doing. I mean, we've just sat here and discussed a new business opportunity to take on. Do you know what I mean? But what else is actually available from there over the next year? I mean, we've gone from ChatGPT 3, I think it was, that came out initial big launch sort of thing. We're now on to 5.2.
5.2,
and that's been in the space of 18 months, something like that. This thing is growing so quickly and advancing so much. And the difference between 5.2 and 3 is huge, just on ChatGPT. And I know that there's other stuff out there that's developing alongside of it. Grok and what's the Google one? I can't think. Gemini, isn't it? So they're all developing and advancing, and there is a little bit of a race. And whenever there's a race in technology, things go a lot faster, don't they?
That's it.
I think it'd be great to go. Brilliant. Normally we would say, is there any questions for me?
We stunned everyone into silence.
No. Fabulous. I like it when there's no questions, because that means we've answered them before they asked them.
That's what we hope.
Thank you for joining us. We are back next month with Stuart Parris from Nelson Solicitors, discussing all things deputyship as the resident Nelson's expert. We might even discuss deputyships next month and not just ramble on. But who knows? You've got me. I'm your Philip Schofield of the day. So we'll see how that goes. I'm sure it'll be. He will make it fantastic, as our guests always do. Me, I'm not so sure so much. But thank you for joining us. We weren't going to this year. We were going to cancel NellieCon because, to be honest, it was really stressful for the past 3 years. But it was such a good day in November, and we had such positive feedback. We're doing NellieCon 4 this year. It's NellieCon 4, isn't it?
1st of October.
1st of October. We're moving it to October, a little bit later in the year. So it doesn't coincide with the other major conferences, and we are a major conference. We are. Yeah. So please have a look on to NellieCon. We're going to have some fantastic speakers, and it'll be a great day as usual. So make sure you book your tickets for Nellie on Sofa in March. I can't believe it's going to be March already. February? We're in February.
We're in January.
Are we in January?
We're in January still.
Are we?
Just about.
Is it Friday? Okay, join us in February. I was really ill last month. Please forgive me. Have we had Christmas? No, I'm joking. Join us in February for Stuart Paris, and in October for Nellie on the Sofa. NellieCon. If you want details on them, go onto Google and type in Nellie on the Sofa or NellieCon. It's genuinely the first thing that pops up because nobody else is stupid enough to use those names. And we will see you next month. Thank you.
Thank you very much.